Sarah Sheffman. I am the author of The Hardest Decision. My editor wanted me to do a video today to give my fans and my viewers on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter some background information on my book that will be released December 2014. So I've been getting a lot of questions via on Twitter, so I'm going to answer some of them, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a backstory on my book. When I went down to write my book, The Hardest Decision, I actually was ready to sit down and write a futuristic dystopian book, and I have been watching Netflix religiously, and my very good friend Hannah, who's actually on YouTube, recommended I watch a show called White Collar, and I started watching it and I just got obsessed with the con artist aspect and the detective aspect. My father is actually a lawyer, my mom's a paralegal, so I've always been fascinated and surrounded by law my whole life, and I thought, why don't I write a book that has to do with the law aspect and the criminal aspect together. And that's how the Hardest Decision aspect book was born. The history behind the name, my main character, Cara Wellington, is a 27-year-old entrepreneur living in the state of Toronto, Canada. Now, I knew I wanted to base the book in Toronto. I love the city when I went with my family during family reunion, and I just thought, so many books have been done in like New York and Seattle, and I wanted to do it somewhere abroad, and I knew when I thought about Toronto that was the location that I had to base the book in. And she harbors a very dark secret. Her brother Ethan was tragically killed in a drunk driving accident, and her family, her father's, has been sabotaged and blackmailed by this company and this family that they've been feuding with for years. And so she decided one day that she wanted to build her own team to get revenge for her father and for her family. Now, she miraculously one day meets the very handsome and very charming Derek Price, who all of a sudden sweeps her off her feet, and she's saying, I should stay away from this man, but I'm incapable of doing it. And she goes to work, thinks nothing of it, and goes on with her life. Now, little does she know that Derek Price is part of Price Industries and is the man responsible for ruining her father's business and for the reason why they've been feuding for years. Now, Cara doesn't know this. She doesn't know that he's responsible because she's never met him. But who, I can't get much into this, but what I love about some books, especially mystery books, is that the villain is not who you expect it to be. The villain's not who you expect it to be, and I didn't want to portray Derek's father as the main villain. He's certainly not. There is a worse villain in this book at play, and you go into the book thinking that it's just a normal romance book, and it is anything but. My main focus on this book is don't judge a city by its views. There are harboring dark secrets in Toronto, Canada, and this book definitely harbors some dark secrets, and some revenge and lies are told between the two families. Now, there is a really big twist in this book that I hope my viewers, my readers will figure out. I don't want to say it because that is one of the main reasons why I wrote this book, is I want you to figure it out. It is from a story that we all know and love very much, and I hope you like it. There are some major twists and turns and plot twists. There are some happy times, some sad times, and there's a huge cliffhanger at the end. I am a lover of cliffhanger at endings, so I hope you like it. So that is my behind the scenes for the Hardest Decision. This book is part of a series. I just finished book 1, and I soon will be starting book 2. Viewer questions that I got on Twitter and Instagram. So yeah, here are some viewer questions. What gave you the inspiration for writing a crime drama? Well, as I said before, my family, my father and my mother have been in law for years, and I've always been fascinated with law shows and criminal shows and detectives. One of my favorite shows growing up is actually Castle. So I knew I wanted to do something with law and the criminal aspect, but I also wanted to do how would it look if you were on the opposite side of the law and you were the one committing the crime. So that's the main inspiration for the book. And yeah, there's question 1. Question 2. Did you go into the book knowing you wanted a strong main character? Yes, I am a huge fan of strong main character, and I think Cara Wellington is definitely the strongest in the book. I didn't want her to be a less strong character, and she's really the one that, if push comes to shove, she'll be the one leading the pack, and I knew I wanted to make her strong. And I would say she's definitely my alter ego. If I was gonna be completely fearless and strong, I would be Cara Wellington. Number 3. Did you know you always wanted to have, what gave you the name Derek Price? Well, my favorite last name is always Price, and growing up I always loved it. I had a really good friend, Derek, who's unfortunately not here anymore, not around anymore, and I just put Derek and Price together, and I knew I wanted to make my main hot throb character Derek Price. Number 4. Did you know you wanted to have a cliffhanger ending that would make your viewers mad at you? I actually, when I first wrote the first 5 chapters of my book, I already knew the ending, and I said, this is an ending that will not only make my viewers hate me, but it leaves off on such a cliffhanger, you are left just speechless. So I knew how the ending was going to be. I just wasn't sure who I was going to portray in the ending, and then once I got towards the end of the book, I knew it had to be between 2 characters, and it is a good ending. That's all I have to say. Number 5. The villain is not, did you know who you wanted the villain to be? I know you said the villain is not who you think it is. Yes, when you first start the book, it seems that there are 2 main villains in the book, and I knew I wanted to make it look like you think one of them is the main villain, then it switches off towards the ending of the book. And I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of mind games when you read books, because I think that's how crime dramas always are. So I said the villain is not who you think it is, and you really have to think hard to who you think the bad guy is. My best friend, actually, who is an author, I can't say what books, it's not released yet, says when you write a crime drama, you have to have a good, solid villain. And I think I have portrayed that really well, so I'll leave it up to the viewers to decide. 2 more questions. Question 6. Did you know you always who is the best character in your opinion in the book? I would say the best character is not who you would think it would be. I would actually say it'd have to be one of the bad guys in the book. It was really easy for me to figure him out because I got inspiration from actually a book that we know very well from the main villain. And he's such a ruthless, bad guy that will stop at absolutely nothing to get what he wants. And I knew that if I had to make a bad guy, I had to make him bad. So I would say Xavier Black is definitely the bad guy, and I always loved the name Xavier. I thought it was a good name for a good, solid, bad villain. So yeah, main characters that people wouldn't think of. This is really long questions for a short answer. I don't know if that was said right, but there are two characters in this book that I knew when I was writing it. I needed a little comedic chapter before you got into the dark and the gritty and the really tragic parts of the book. It is Angie and Julia, who are actually my 2 best friends in real life. And Angie is more of like the mommy figure of all 3 of us, and Julia is my BFF, my best friend, who's like the partier effort, going out spontaneously at night till 3 o'clock in the morning and going out and partying and having drinks. So I knew I had to make those 2 characters in the book, and it was just easy for me. I'm like, you need a little bit of comedic comedy in the book before you got to the hard gritty. So let's say Angie and Julia were my favorite besides my two main characters, the characters for me to write. So there's my behind the scenes of The Hardest Decision. Hopefully this makes you want to pick it up. The book will be published and released December 2014. And if you have any more questions, leave them below in the description box. And if my publisher approves it, I will do another video. So I'll see you later. Bye.